Where are you coming from? Where are you going? An officer asks you these simple questions, and the next thing you know, you're standing on the side of the road trying to touch your nose, stand on one leg, and walk on a line. So how do these seemingly innocent questions lead to an arrest for DUI or whatever? And more importantly, how do you answer these questions without getting trapped? By the end of this video, you will know the only safe way to respond that protects your rights. Now, let's imagine a common scenario. You get pulled over for a minor traffic violation. Not even a ticket, just a warning. But the officer starts asking questions that have nothing to do with the stop sign. Where are you coming from? Where are you going? What's the point? Are they expecting you to just blurt out, I'm coming from a bank robbery? No, the answer is simple. It's phishing. These questions are designed for one reason, to get you talking. Because once you start talking, they can start building a case against you for something else entirely. They are listening for how you answer. Are your answers quick and coherent? Or are you flustered? Do you sound impaired? Does your story even make sense? Saying that you're coming from work when your job is 30 miles in the opposite direction is a huge red flag. They're also performing what's called divided attention tests. While you're fumbling for your license and registration, they hit you up with a question. They want to see if you can handle two simple tasks at once. If you struggle, they'll write in the report, driver was confused and had difficulty multitasking. Another check mark in the DUI box. And this is where the trap snaps shut. Let's say you admit you're coming from a bar or restaurant. The very next question will be, how much have you had to drink tonight? And many people trying to be honest will say, oh, just one beer. And that's all they need. An admission to drinking, even a little bit, combined with a minor traffic violation, is often enough for them to pull you out of the car for field sobriety tests. Sometimes they'll even need an admission in Indiana. They can just smell the alcohol plus a traffic violation. So now I see some terrible advice online and in the comments for this situation. People suggest being a jerk or a wise guy. One person bragged about telling a cop he had a date with his wife, which got him a pretty big ticket. This is the worst thing you can do. Being a jerk is not exercising your rights. It's just asking for trouble. So you shouldn't be honest and you shouldn't be a jerk. Can you just lie? I'm going to tell you right now, do not lie to a law enforcement officer. In Indiana, it's false informing. There's other problems with that. If they got to be real jerks, they can file obstructions of justice. There might be some gray area about denying you took part in a crime. But the only thing you would say to an officer is, I plead the fifth. I want a lawyer. I do not consent to a search. Now, if you're driving a car, you have to give them your driver's license or your name, date of birth, and your address. Otherwise, at least in Indiana, you're going to be facing refusal to identify charges, another crime you can get arrested for. Most states have a similar law like that. For operating a vehicle, you get pulled over for a violation. You got to give them some ID to prove that you were allowed to drive. Answering questions is always a legal minefield, and the police are trained to detect lies. Once they sense you're being deceptive, they will double down. So lying is just a bad strategy. It's just as bad as being a jerk. But at least a jerk can't get you charged. Lying could possibly get you charged. So maybe it's worse. And remember what I said about the police listening to how you talk? I have read hundreds of police reports that said my client had slurred speech. Then I watched the body cam video and the person sounds perfectly clear to me. But the officer was there. They'll say they heard it, even if it's not showing up in the video. If an officer is looking for evidence of a crime, such as DUI, they will often see and hear what they need to see and hear. Now, this brings us to the final point, and this is the most important takeaway of this video. Many people think that you can just stay quiet, but in some situations, your silence can be used against you. The Supreme Court has ruled that to get full protection, you must clearly and verbally state that you are choosing to remain silent. So the best thing to say is, I plead the fifth, I want a lawyer, I do not consent to a search. That makes it very clear what you're doing. And there's no room for ambiguity or an officer to say, I didn't quite understand what he was doing. That's it. You say those words calmly, respectfully. You don't have to get into a debate. You don't have to explain why. You provide your license, registration, proof of insurance when asked. For any other question, where are you coming from? Where are you going? How much have you had to drink tonight? I plead the fifth. I want a lawyer. I do not consent to a search. We're going to put a little graphic on the screen. Take a screenshot of that so you have it for future use. This is the only strategy that doesn't give them anything to use against you. You weren't a jerk. You don't lie. You didn't give them a story that doesn't add up. You don't give them a sample of your voice, misinterpret it as slurred speech. You simply and legally refuse to play their police officer game. And I get it. It feels unnatural. It might even feel suspicious. You'll be nervous and your brain will tell you just to answer the simple question to make the situation go away. Please count on that. They're counting on your nervousness and your desire to be cooperative. You must fight that instinct. The difference between driving away with a warning and ending your night in handcuffs can come down to whether you answer a simple, seemingly innocent question. Remember, their goal is to get you to talk. Your goal is to not give them any ammunition. The law can be complicated, and this advice is general. Every situation is unique, and the laws vary state by state. It'd be in your best interest to figure out what you must do and say when you are pulled over for a traffic violation. You have to provide identification. You have to tell the person you have a firearm on you. There's different states, different laws, but everything I've said about the right to remain silent, not consenting to a search, and you wanting a lawyer, that applies across 50 states of the United States. If you've been charged with a DUI or any type of crime in Indiana, give me a call, 317-632-3642. I would love to help you out. If you have watched this far, please like and subscribe to this video. Leave me a comment with your thoughts. And you can even put like mean thoughts about me. I don't care. I care a little bit. It hurts my feelings. But I love it when some people put nice things on the comments, and I will do my absolute best to respond to all comments. I can't promise that because a lot of comments and only so many hours in the day, and I got a lot of things to do. But most importantly, remember to always plead the fifth.